Daisy.
And I'm Terri.
And this is the Monday Mindset Podcast,
where we share things of interest to us and hopefully to you.
So let's get started with episode number 241. And today is a little bit different. It's not the first episode of 2025, but it's the first new episode that we've recorded together of 2025. We're actually recording this right at the end of 2024, but it's close enough that we can pretend it's 2025. So a very happy new year, happy 2025 to everybody out there.
And happy new year to you, Daisy. I can pretend it's already a couple days in advance. I think I can do that today.
Yeah, we're close enough. It feels kind of New Year-y.
That's right.
So we thought we would do one of our catch-up, round-up, looking forward, looking backward, whatever you would like to call it. It's the perfect time at the beginning of the year to do it. So that's what we are doing today. And you have been teasing for a while that you have an update about standing on one leg. So why don't we start with that?
Absolutely. So you have talked about standing on one leg before, and I, of course, listened and thought, oh, that sounds like such a great thing. And then that night when I brushed my teeth, I tried it. I practically fell down and stopped. But I have been working on developing for skiing.
I was just thinking, actually, it would be a good thing for skiing.
Yeah.
Balance.
And so I purchased a kind of specific to skiing training program. And my partner is a first-time ski instructor this year, and so was given a training program to help protect you from an ACL injury, because that's one of the most common injuries for skiers.
What is that?
Anterior cruciate ligament. Ligament tears can be caused by sudden twisting motion. It's common in basketball players, skiers, probably soccer players.
Well, that would make sense, I suppose. Everything revolves around the knees.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not everything, but a lot.
And if you haven't trained this part of your body specifically, it's a very vulnerable place. So I have been working with a trainer, and she's been giving me some things to help work on this. And then I got this skiing thing, and then my partner got this skiing thing. So lo and behold, I started standing on one leg, and I have an electric toothbrush. And so I stand on one foot for 1 minute, and then I stand on the other foot for 1 minute, both morning and night when I brush my teeth. And then more recently, I got a balancing mat. It's the same thing, except that you're even more wobbly because you're not on the floor. And so it really helps you use your toes more and balance your weight. And then for Christmas, I got a Bosu ball.
What's that?
One of those kind of half balls that's kind of smushy. And so I've been doing it on that.
Ah.
That one's even harder. But I have been standing on one leg now for probably maybe about 6 weeks.
Wow.
And, I can't really say, hey, it's working, but I definitely have not injured myself. And my balance has gotten so much better. The first 4 or 5 nights that I did it, oh my gosh, it was like I had to grab onto the countertop like every 4 seconds. And now I can get through almost 1 full minute, not have to put a foot down or touch the counter or anything. So I'm really surprised by how much my balance has improved. And like I said, I think it's helping. I don't have sore knees. I certainly haven't had an injury, knock on wood. So I have taken your advice through and through now and am working on the standing on one leg.
Ah, that's very interesting. You should try it with your eyes closed. So much harder. I remember it was either in the podcast I listened to or a bit of further reading, and they talk about doing it with your eyes closed. I think they listed some lengths of time that, if you could do it for such a length of time, it indicated X, Y, Z, that kind of thing. But Yeah, as good as you can do it. I'm actually very good with my eyes open. I can stand for ages and ages on one leg. But yeah, as soon as you close your eyes, you think to yourself, how different can it be? Especially if you've stood there for quite a long time already with your eyes open, and then you close your eyes and all of a sudden it all goes out the window.
I think it's because, I don't know if it's proprioception, I can't even say the word, proprioception, but it's by looking, you have another piece of detail a piece of data to tell you that you're balancing.
That's right.
And without it, you really have to rely differently. The other thing that I've been doing some days is, let me see, let's say, for example, I'm standing on my left leg. I bend it partially, and then with the right leg, I tap at the front, I tap off to the side, and then behind. And I just go through that like a triangle and do that. So again, strengthening the knee. I assume it's also good for the hips because I definitely feel it in the hips. So you have started a whole workout here for me twice a day when I brush my teeth.
This time next year, you'll be doing one-legged squats.
Probably not, but we'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see.
And talking about some of the things, we did an episode, I think it might even have been the last episode we recorded last year about jigsaws. But an interesting little thing that I discovered, I think I told you about it actually, on the Jigsaw app. Is it an app? It's in the browser. I don't know if that counts as an app. Website maybe. But anyway, the one we both use, Jigsaw Explorer, I've discovered that you can upload your own photo or picture or whatever you like. I think it gets a bit more complicated if you want to upload it for the site for everyone to use, but just for your own use, you can upload whatever you like. So next time you're thinking, oh, that photo I took would make a really good jigsaw, or that meme I've just seen would make a really good jigsaw, or that picture, whatever, you get the idea. And that's what I've done. We were talking, weren't we, about the perfect sort of images that we like doing for jigsaws. And I really like patterns. So I went and looked on some of these image sites for patterns and found a load that, yeah, that's my perfect jigsaw.
Brilliant.
I'm really into doing those. So that's a handy little thing that you can do. So you don't even just have to choose from the ones that are there. And all the same things apply, so you can select how many pieces it is and all those things. So yeah, that's quite good fun. A handy little thing that I found by accident.
I love that too, because I often will look at the ones that are available, like the more recent ones, and just think, no, not that one. So then I start digging through the archives, and then I forget which ones I've done. And, I waste so much time. It's kind of like looking through Netflix to find something to watch for an hour. And so now I can just quickly grab an image and load it as a puzzle. That's great.
That's right. So the world is your lobster, really. You can just have a look on Google and find any kind of image you like. There you go.
Very cool.
Handy jigsaw tip. And well, weren't you saying you were getting for Christmas a jigsaw table or some kind of something that was purpose built for doing real jigsaws?
Good reminder. I didn't get one. I thought I was getting one.
No.
We gave one as a gift. And what it is a, section of a table that is on a spinning Lazy Susan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then it has drawers underneath that are also flat where you can put the pieces so that you can tuck it away, because oftentimes people put this maybe on their dining room table and then, kind of hard to eat there. So this way you can kind of keep it all packaged up.
Yes, and I saw somebody posted, somebody or other that I follow. It wasn't one that you could turn around, but it was a similar principle. It was a bit like a drawing board, actually. I think you could change the angle up and down, and that had storage drawers underneath.
Nice.
So yes, obviously it's a popular thing. I still like the online ones.
Yeah, I do too, but I really love doing the actual puzzles. I can't do them in bed though, so I do like the online ones because I can do those anywhere. But I've been surprised. I feel like puzzling has made a real comeback. Well, I don't know if it was ever popular, but it just feels to me that they're becoming more and more something that people are doing. So we're all helping our brain.
Yeah, well, I think, there's all this, more of a growing interest in various different health and wellness and well-being apps and different hacks and different things you can do. And I think that's one of the reasons why puzzles come up. You've only got to do any kind of these apps where they're free, but you have to see adverts, and you get over and over again, you get different ones saying, this is something that will improve your brain age or whatever it is they're trying to sell, but it's down that track of puzzles, keeping your brain active with puzzles. And I'm just looking at the people will know who have meetings with you, but that picture that we can see behind you, that would make a good jigsaw puzzle.
Good point.
So there you go. You could take a picture of that and turn it into a jigsaw.
Yes, I could. Something I wanted to share with you, Daisy, as this is our first of the year conversation. I think you and I have talked about in the past, we're not really big on New Year's resolutions and things, but I think in some of these episodes in the past, we've talked about kind of a word for the year or something. And one of my friends on Facebook posted one of those things that said, the first 4 words you see will be your mantra for 2025. And it was just,
Yeah, I've seen
1,000 letters or whatever. And so I was going to share with you the first 4 words that I saw. So I got alignment, gratitude, self-care, breakthrough.
Good words.
So those are my words, my mantra for 2025.
Very good.
I like it.
I think we mention thinking of a word, and I always struggle to think of a word. And I always say I must go back and listen to what my word from last year was, because I always forget. So it shows how much I hold that in the front of my brain, or wherever it is. Where is is it the hippocampus where your memories are stored? That bit, obviously, it's not working brilliantly. But one thing that did come to my mind was that overall potentially feel a bit more optimistic about the year ahead this year. Last year wasn't a great year for me. It was a sort of gradual decline, really. Mood-wise, depression got really bad, ended up turning to alcohol for a while, which I knew in the moment wasn't a good idea, but kind of felt like it was helping, even though I knew it wasn't helping, and got to a really, 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 really low point until I decided I would try attacking it with chemical warfare. Trying to get to speak to a doctor was another challenge. But yes, I've mentioned that before. It's easier said than done in the UK. But actually, by the time I found my way through the minefield, I did get to speak to somebody and had a discussion, because I have been on antidepressants before and not really got along with them. And that's one of the reasons why I was a bit reluctant to try them again. I'm not one of these people who never ever wants to use anything. I think if there's a medication of some kind that can help, doesn't have a huge amount of side effects, you do the whole risk benefit analysis and work it out. But the reason I've been reluctant is that I've tried it a couple of times before and haven't really found it makes that much difference. But I had a bit of a Google, and I've been on SSRIs, which are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And for anyone who doesn't know how they work. In general, they work by blocking the reuptake process of the neurotransmitter in question, which for SSRIs is serotonin. And serotonin helps regulate mood, so you can see why they're working on that. But the reuptake process, which is what happens normally, reduces the availability. So the way they work is by blocking that. So the idea is that it increases the serotonin, helps regulate your mood. But they have, and I'm not sure when they first came out, but the objective was to improve on the SSRIs, and they are SNRIs, which is basically the same, but instead of just working on serotonin, they also work on norepinephrine. Studies haven't conclusively confirmed that they are any better, but I did a bit of research and thought, well, maybe that's what they'll suggest, and I was going to suggest it to them if they didn't. And straight away, when I said I've tried things before and I told her the types that I tried, she suggested straight away an SNRI. So I thought, well, let's give it a go. And you know what I'm like? I like getting onto Google, and straight away, stupidly, didn't read the small print. So in big letters, it said take in the morning. In small letters, it said take after eating. I didn't have my reading glasses on, so I didn't see the little, the little letters. So I just took one first thing in the morning and got hit by it full force and felt really, really not very well. Felt very sick, very dizzy, but had, and this is where the interesting, or at least I found it interesting, excessive yawning. I thought, well, that's interesting because it reminded me of when I'd listened to podcasts, watched some videos about the vagus nerve. I thought, I'm sure there was something about yawning. So I Googled, and excessive yawning is a vasovagal reaction. And also, two of the neurotransmitters that are really affected or work or whatever you want to call it around the vagus nerve are, you've guessed it, serotonin and norepinephrine. So I thought, well, that is very interesting. And these were very different side effects to those that I'd had before. So that's where immediately, it takes a while for these things to kick in, but immediately I thought, one, I thought that's very interesting, and two, I thought these are very different side effects, physical side effects to those that I've had before. So maybe there will be different mental and, mood side effects. And I have to say, yes, they've helped. It's sort of stabilized me a bit and sort of just got me out of that real deep hole that I was, really struggling to get out of. So yes, straight away, I felt a bit more optimistic about them, that they might help a bit. And so, yes, that sort of led me into the new year feeling a little bit more hopeful that it'll be a better year. And as we mentioned towards the end of last year, I've got this new volunteer work to look forward to. That hasn't started yet, but I expect it to very soon. The guy said he was going to give me a call as soon as they're back in January, which is any minute now. So yeah, there feels like there's a few more things to look forward to. So I'm hoping to be a little bit more cheerful and a little bit more productive. I didn't get anywhere near as much done as I would have liked to get done last year. So hopefully that will mean I'll get a few things ticked off my list in the house.
That's great news, Daisy. It's also one of those examples where it's challenging when you feel like the options available won't make a difference. And it took you, stretching a little bit outside of that and seeing what else might be available and learning about that. So that's great that you've already been experiencing some impact that feels positive for you.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? When you've had things that have worked before, diet has had a huge impact before, but I don't know whether some of these things, just the efficacy wears off. Maybe, maybe some of that's down to me not being as strict. I don't know. I think there are so many different factors that can impact these things. But yes, it's difficult when you get to, you get to such a desperate place that you just can't see your mood improving. So yes, that's why I thought I'd give it a go. But yes, I thought it was quite funny. I was laughing at myself as I was Googling, finding it quite interesting. Excessive yawning, who knew? But it was enough of a thing that I Googled it, put it that way.
Also, good to know it wasn't just, oh my gosh, this new medication is making me so tired that I'm not going to have any energy or something.
Yeah, and I could tell it was weird. I could tell it was weird.
That's great.
That's the questioner, the researcher, gets straight onto Google and find out what's going on.
Dr. Google.
Yes, absolutely. I suppose I'm also feeling slightly more optimistic about Lila and her progress. I actually risked letting her off the lead. I let her off the lead in the dog field. There's no risk there because there are 6-foot high fences that she can't get out of. But on Christmas Day, we went to our usual place where I take all 3 of them, but she's on a long lead and she mostly looks for mice. But there was nobody around. I could tell there was nobody around. One, that I couldn't see anybody, but there were also no cars parked. So it was reliably empty. And the roads were very quiet and everything. So I risked letting her off the lead. And she tends to, it's all about looking for mice. So she's sort of, she's in one spot. She's not really, I'm sure if an animal or something ran off into the woods, she would go after it. But it's quite reliable there aren't rabbits or anything around. It's all about the mice, really. So I figured worst comes to worst, I could probably ambush her if she wasn't coming back. But yes, I experimented with that and let her off for a while, which was good. And then the next time I was up there, funnily enough, we bumped into some people I've bumped into before who have Potencos. One of those is always on a long lead. To start with, I risked letting her go up and say hello to them, which of course I usually, with the reactivity training, I keep her back. Everything about when you're working with reactivity is distance, keeping a distance that you gradually decrease, but it's always about the distance. But I just kind of had a sense that she might be okay, because Rocket's always okay with dogs that look like him. I think he's a complete narcissist. He can be funny with any other dogs, but Potenco's always absolutely fine. And I just got a sense that she'd be the same. So I let her go up to them and she was fine. And I felt confident enough. Again, I thought, oh, you know what? I'll let her off the lead and have a little bit of a run around with them, which I did. And she was fine. So yes, although there have definitely been some ups and downs, there feels like there's some positive steps forward. She's very affectionate. I had a conversation with my neighbour who has now installed a stair gate. So her dog, and she often is looking after dogs that are very, very barky, now get held up at the top of her stairs, which means, I've explained it before, but the layout of my house is that her front door is right over my front door. So when her dogs are running up and down in that area, to my dogs, it sounds like they're in the house. So it's no surprise really that Lila kicks off. But she's agreed to add this stair gate. So again, it just keeps that little bit of a distance. And it's made a huge difference.
Nice.
So yes, that's another reason why I'm feeling a little bit more optimistic, because there have been times of despair when it comes to Lila and her behavior and our lack of moving forward. So a few things there to be optimistic about.
These are big signs of progress.
It's a good word. That's going to be my word for 2025. Let's go with optimistic.
There we go. I love it. I guess my other piece for my New Year update would be kind of some progress on my skiing. As you know, that's been a big thing for me since moving here. Last year, I did not start until January. Most of the good skiing doesn't start until January as far as the conditions. And I had broken my body in several places in the fall. So I waited until after January started. But this year we got a really early, big snow. And our ski resorts here opened a little bit early and with good conditions, and we've had good conditions since. So last year, I skied 23 days. And this year, so far, we're not even to January yet, and I've already skied 18 days.
Wow.
So first, I know I'm going to ski much more this year, and it really is one of those things, as with so many other things, it's getting out there and doing it that really makes the difference. Every time I go, I gain a little more confidence, gain a little more competence, and so it's been really exciting to start the year on a really strong foundation and see progress already happening. So that's been exciting for me.
Yeah, because I mean, it's quite a big gap in between the seasons, isn't it? So especially if you're a new skier, there must be, I mean, for people who have been skiing for years and years and decades, it's all about just looking forward to the next ski season. But even for them, I should imagine those first few skis a little bit tentative, sort of getting back into the routine and the muscle memory coming back. But I should imagine for new skiers, there's a fair bit of trepidation after quite a long gap. Am I right in thinking you'd never skied before? Up to that point?
When I was in my 20s, I skied maybe 2 times. Never had an instruction, just put on skis and floundered my way down a small hill.
So pretty much new to it.
Mm-hmm. I definitely, as a new person to skiing, was very nervous at the beginning of this year. You know, like the night before we went for the first time, I couldn't sleep because I kept thinking, what if I don't remember how to do it? What if my feet don't move the way or my legs don't do it, whatever? And I was quite nervous, and it does come back pretty quickly. But I definitely had to get back up to the level where I was. Mm-hmm. The runs that I had been doing at the end of last season were pretty scary to me at the beginning of this season. And so I'm just now kind of bridging across again into those faster runs.
And did you feel the benefit from, because I know you've been doing some regular squats and things like that, did you feel the benefit from the preparation that you've been doing?
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that I've been working with a trainer and doing some of those ski school kinds of things, because it's different muscles that you want to make sure are ready. And squats have definitely helped strengthening my thighs and I don't even remember all the muscles, the quads. And then doing some things to strengthen and help with the different movements that, you know, your feet have to be able to move in a certain way. And so those are muscles that my body is not used to using. And so getting in and doing some of that has definitely made skiing a lot easier this year and helped me have more stamina, because that's another big thing for me getting started. I wanted to do more, but you know, the legs get tired. And so I definitely feel like the training that I had done prior to getting started helped me.
Great. Brilliant. Well, it sounds like you've got a lot of skiing ahead of you.
Absolutely.
Well, happy skiing. And to you and to everybody out there, I wish you a very happy new year.
It's great to get to see you again, Daisy, and to hear all of your updates and good news on your front. And I will look forward to lots of episodes this year.